All right, we're almost done for the day. So I just, before we go to our close, just a quick thank you again to everybody in this room. And thank you for contributing during the workshop session. We really appreciate your input. We look forward to writing up our post-event blog, incorporating all your thoughts. So with that, we are going to go to our very own AJ Hikes to close us out for the day.
Hello, my friends. Good afternoon. My name is AJ Hikes. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm your Deputy Executive Director for Strategy and Culture at the ACLU. I have the amazing privilege of closing out our summit this afternoon, and what a day it has been. Today has been by far the largest and yet somehow the most kind of intimate discovery session on the possibilities underpinning responsible AI, at least that I have ever seen. And throughout it all, I realized that we are really living in a civil liberties moment. Just like Terrence stated earlier about the Palmer raids and its role not only informing the ACLU, but laying the groundwork for shaping justice across many different issue areas in civil society, we are now at an inflection point where we must fight to integrate civil liberties into algorithms used in AI-enabled systems. And so let's break down today a little bit. I think that's my responsibility in closing out at bare minimum. Together today, we explored what it means to lead with values and ensure inclusion in a time of extraordinary quantum leaps in AI design and rollout. We also explored urgent topics, from how AI can advance civil liberties rather than undermine it or ignore it completely, to practical approaches for responsible AI adoption. And then the idea of inclusion in terms of who gets a seat at the table and when AI gets designed and deployed, and of course, who's left out. We covered so very much. And I don't know about you, but I feel pumped up at the end of this. I feel full of questions, tons. I kind of joked that I came in knowing about maybe like 2 things about AI, and I know at least 8 now. No, I know much more than that. And I have tons of questions, but more importantly, and I'm pretty surprised by this, I have a lot of hope, which I'll be honest with you, we need a ton more of these days. So I'm very grateful to the summit for that. From the moment that Terrence kicked us off this morning by reminding us why we must center civil liberties as we contend with the proliferation of AI in everyday life, it was clear that this was not going to be just like your average kickoff to a tech conference. What we have heard, spoken about, and learned during our time together is about the importance of justice, about people, and about power building across social impact organizations. And what it looks like to lean into our values, even when the ground beneath us is shifting, to accelerate AI in ways that are not always responsible. The fireside chat up here with E.G. and Deborah and Vilas made clear that innovation doesn't have to come at the expense of accountability, and that industry, philanthropy, legal, and advocacy organizations, like many of the ones that are represented in the room today, have a critical role in shaping AI governance at every single level and at every single turn. And then we had the Tech Futures Racial Justice and AI panel with several of the ACLU's tech, legal, policy teams. And that really illustrated for us how the speed of adopting AI is already impacting various individuals and communities, especially in employment and policing and housing. And as we heard from our amazing panelists, it's not just about AI or generative AI, it's about how AI-enabled systems are quietly making decisions that affect millions of our lives, often without consent, without transparency, and without accountability. And then in the funders panel, we heard how philanthropy can be leveraged as values-based force multiplier to help seed responsible AI innovation and center our values, once again, in the process. And of course, let's not forget that didactic workshop where things got a little bit real. We had the ACLU, Hugging Face, Amnesty International, sharing their organizational views of navigating AI adoption, as well as what it takes to bring AI into organizations responsibly. And not just to keep up with the race, but how we stay true to our mission and our values in the process. So my goodness, what a freaking day. I'm gonna ask you all to give it up again for the panelists and of course for yourselves. So before we look ahead together and we discuss what comes next after this inaugural summit, I'm going to ask you all for a favor. We need your help. I'm going to ask you right now to scan this QR code. Oh, so large, right behind me. Let me not block it for y'all, though. It's massive. And you're going to be able to take like a 90-second survey. It's going to bring you to the AAI Summit website. You're going to need to scroll down a little bit so that you can get to the survey at the bottom. And the insights and the brilliance that you share with us about your experience here today will help us be able to build more responsive and beautiful summits for you in the future. So I'm actually going to take a hot second for you all to do this for real right now, because we know if we let y'all get up from these seats, you ain't going to do it later. So let's go ahead and start to fill it out for us right now. I'll shut up so you can do that. You're right. Yep. You need to scroll all the way down. I really appreciate that you all are actually filling this out. It makes me very happy. It makes the team very happy as well. As folks are continuing to fill it out, people who know me know that I'm not going to sit down from a podium without doing some audience participation. So as you're filling out, this feels like an appropriate time to ask you all, for folks to feel brave enough to give me 1 word to 3 words to a full sentence about what you're taking from the conference, what you're leaving with, in terms of even how you feel leaving the conference, something you learned. But I would love to just hear from just a few people. And truly, you can like yell out a word. It could be a sentence. It could be a feeling, some reflections. But just would love what folks are leaving with. We can't put stack in the chat. It's an ACLU joke. But you can raise your hand since we're IRL. Anything you're leaving with? Any way you're feeling? Yes, my friend.
Mainly from the morning, but throughout the day, that humans are going to lead AI instead of being led by it.
All right, now. I'll say that back. Throughout the day, mainly for the morning, but throughout the day, humans are going to lead AI rather than being led by it. Thank you for that. Thank you for projecting. Anybody else? Something you're leaving with? Thought, feeling? Yes, I see.
I'm sure there are places to read about that, but learning more about ongoing cases and recent cases that the ACLU has led has been really great.
That's wonderful. Learning about cases and that ongoing work that's happening. I also appreciated that. Even being a person at the ACLU, it's sometimes hard to keep up with all the incredible work that we do, so it was wonderful to be able to hear that in this space. Oh yes, Rania wants you to know it's on our landing page. You can find it there. Thank you. All right, and we're gonna do one more right in the back.
Just that there's still lots of energy and still lots to be done.
That's right. Lots of energy and always lots to be done. Thank you for that. And please continue to fill out those surveys for folks who haven't completed it yet. Really appreciate you all taking the time. So now, in terms of the road ahead and some of the key takeaways that you can leave here with, in addition to what you all already shared, the first is that there's a real sense of urgency, obviously, when it comes to AI. Everybody that's in the room knows that. And no one is off the hook when it comes to this one. From developers to consumers to philanthropists, journalists, policymakers, litigators, across nearly every single session that we had today, we heard how AI is rapidly embedded in tools and the systems across several sectors, and often without the guardrails needed to push back against preemptive harm. So how we respond to all of this is urgent, and it's needed now more than ever. We really don't have the luxury of being silent or sitting on the sidelines for this one. As Roger Baldwin, the co-founder of the ACLU, said many moons ago, silence never won rights. They are not handed down from above. They are forced from pressures from below. And so the time to act is now. The second thing is that partnerships across our collective trust, from civil society to industry, are non-negotiable. I heard collaboration over and over and over again. They're critical. So whether you're a technologist, a philanthropist, an advocate, a researcher, building cross-sector partnerships to influence how AI is used and not misused is important. And it's the only way forward. The third thing is values-based implementation is our new and perhaps our next frontier. And many organizations are eager to adopt AI, but they're unsure about how to do it responsibly. So in that organizational adoption of AI workshop that just occurred, we highlighted the power of shared learnings across our challenges, across governance models, and the tools to consider when adoption is on the table. So besides these key takeaways, what's next? We obviously want you all to stay in the loop and continue this conversation wherever you are, online or offline. As a matter of fact, we are compiling all the resources from today's sessions. We're going to be shared via email, on our AI Summit website, on our social media, and additionally, our Summit website, on there you're going to find some key readings as follow-up on our algorithmic justice work across our tech, our legal, our policy teams, so you can visit our website for more information on that. And the website is aclu.org/ACLU/AI/summit. But we'll send that in an email, I am certain. So finally, as a token of our gratitude for joining us today, everybody should receive the signed copy of Deborah's book. It's extraordinary, Dividing Lines, How Transportation Infrastructure Reinforces Racial Inequality, along with our custom little bookmark. Y'all got a bookmark that has some reflection prompts, which is very cool. I have the book, but I don't have the bookmark, so I'm gonna need to run that one back. If you didn't receive a copy of your book, you can get it out in the check-in area. But for now, we've come to the end, and I'm going to invite you all to continue the conversation upstairs by joining us in the gallery bar for an informal reception. There's a bar up there, so I don't want to stand between you and happy hour. And you'll have a chance to connect with from some of the amazing team that made today possible. So speaking of that team, the last order of business I have before we part ways is to give some more gratitude and ask you to do the same. For our brilliant speakers, for our moderators, thank you for sharing your time and your brilliance. To our event planners, our event planner, our comms colleagues, Noya House, thank you for making this day real. And to each one of you, our attendees, thank you for saying yes to our very first summit and for being a part of this collective vision for civil rights in a digital age of AI. Thank you all so very much, and we'll see you upstairs.